What's happening, fandoms? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here,
we react to music videos and shows.
Today we're going back for more new Rockstars breakdowns and Easter eggs and details we missed, you missed, everybody missed them. They got them.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We always miss them. That's why we love watching this.
Yeah, they do such a good job of breaking things down and making the connections that we don't have a chance to make.
And have not seen it or missed it.
Yeah. Jessica Clemens is here for us today. Looks like they're going to let her handle the whole She-Hulk show. I think she's great. Eric Voss is usually the guy that does most of the Marvel breakdowns, but I guess they're going to let Jessica Clemens take this one.
He's on honeymoon. Can that be?
Possibly. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen him they do tons of content. I've seen him do other stuff for She-Hulk, but the breakdowns, it looks like they're letting Jessica Clemens handle them, cool. Which is fine. We love her. She's funny.
Yeah.
If you are not familiar with new Rockstars, you should check them out. They do amazing content for tons and tons of pop culture stuff. They're on the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power series. They're on all of them. Stranger Things, all the good shows, you get breakdowns. So check them out and go subscribe. But right now we're going to check out the episode 3 breakdown from She-Hulk.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Jessica Clemens, and I'm so pumped to talk to you about the 3rd episode because there's so many fun things that happened. We got Wong just Wong.
Just Wong. And
more new characters to learn from, and as always, She-Hulk coming into herself. Plus, Megan the mother effing stallion. It's like Jessica Gal said, Jessica Clemens of New Rockstars, we have an episode for you. And I said, bless up, baby. Also, I'd like to mention, because I've forgotten and I'm so sorry, our great partners over at the Epic Heroes shop just released their Green Justice merch line inspired by She-Hulk. It's got several different t-shirt designs, including the newest limited edition latest obsession shirt, Lady Justice. They're also dropping lines inspired by House of the Dragon and or Rings of Power in the coming weeks. When purchased, you get an opportunity to get a shout out and such from Voss, MT, and I on Inside Marvel. What fun. Okay, now let's get into our episode 3 breakdown. Yeah. Jen is storming the DODC like she's been there 100 times. As she walks through the lasers, I noticed the A113 on the wall and immediately went to A113 Pixar number. If you don't know, it's the classroom number used by a ton of Pixar alumni at the California Institute of the Arts, and it's hidden in a ton of Pixar movies. It's featured in Spider-Man Homecoming, Avengers Endgame, Guardians of the Galaxy, so it's not just in animation. They can project videos and images on Emil's prison walls, which I think is pretty insane and futuristic, but they do this almost in every Marvel movie, so it's not too new. Emil discloses, pretty late I might add, that Wong forced him out of prison, and he knew Wong's complete title, probably because Wong's been introducing himself as the Sorcerer Supreme since No Way Home, and I stand for it. Be proud, Wong. We see Wong's mock LinkedIn account. Nikki and Wong's mutual connection is Bruce. I love this confirmation that Avengers can have LinkedIn accounts, because I'm sure Tony had one. He's so proud to be the Sorcerer Supreme. He also marked full-time librarian at Carmitage for 11 years and a Target sales associate for 9 years. So if my math is correct, give or take, because we all know no one updates their LinkedIn. Maybe just me. Wong was appointed Sorcerer Supreme in 2018 following the blip. 11 years before that as a librarian, so that's 2007. But for 9 years, he was a Target sales associate. So from 1998 to approximately 2007, Wong was training at Carmitage, but also side-gigged as a Target employee. Go off, King. Jen breaks the 4th wall, and here we hear a little transitional twinkle before it.
I know you can't wait to see Wong. I get it.
I'm freaking out when she's not even talking.
It's hard to describe, but it's a sort of futuristic synthy wave passing between your left and right speakers. It's similar to the noise Tony's machine model makes in Endgame when it was a successful run. It seems like Jen knows it's the WCU, also known as the Wong Cinematic Universe, because she wants us to remember this show isn't about him or Bruce or Blonsky. It's She-Hulk, baby. Also, Jen, if that ain't a self-driving car, keep your hands 10 and 2. We get the pass-by effect introducing News Los Angeles Now announcing Jennifer Walters is representing Emil Blonsky. They used the photo straight out of 2008's Incredible Hulk. Below the headline reads, superpowered influencer Titania speaks out about latest legal troubles, confident her legal team will make it go away, which shows that her altercation with Jen has not smoothed over in the slightest. We see the Tattle News frame like Entertainment News, an anchor played by Amanda Salas, who also is the entertainment anchor for Good Day LA. In another pass-by effect, we see just how popular She-Hulk is right now. On what I assume is YouTube, she's covered under the tag She-Hulk She-Hulk, news, and superhero. She's being talked about on Despierta Daily News. There's theory videos on She-Hulk not being real, a hoax, conspiracy theories on this poor woman. Dear Lord, is this how I sound all the time? I hope not. They've also already started calling her the big green woman on the internet. This girl has gone viral. If you want to call being called a big green woman viral. Yeah, I would. I'll quickly explain the ups and downs of all She-Hulk's online threads. First, we get a nonsensical man, I made that up, played by Rory Asplin, who was featured in episode 1 of She-Hulk as a stunt performer. I think he might have been the guard on the right. We get mixed sexist comments from people like Dom the Bounty Hunter, Hard Seltzer Steve, and Darby Don't Care. TikToks, emojis, memes, more unwanted male commentary, and I'm about to Hulk out just reading and listening to them all. We get covered on the news, the conversation with Jefferson Coop. We meet Blonsky's former attorney, Gideon Wilson, played by Jason Turner, who A, we didn't see in The Incredible Hulk or anything else, and B, is Sam Wilson's brother. In the comics, Gideon first appears in World War Hulk Gamma Corps #1. He was Sam and Sarah's older brother. When he joined the Gamma Corps, they were basically made to take down the Hulk. He was super supportive of his brother becoming Captain America, but Gideon's story in the comics is super rough. His son died from AIDS, and he took his anger basically out on the Hulk. It's pretty sad, but it's a good comics. It's a good comic run. But in the MCU, he doesn't really exist that we know of. To Sam and Sarah's knowledge, it was just the two of them, but maybe Gideon, as the oldest, left far before Sam and Sarah could remember. There's a lot of theories that could be made, but I think it's important to note that they chose Gideon Wilson as the character to prosecute Abomination in the past rather than anyone else. If you're full of chivalry and really want to address someone as Lord and Lady, Established Titles can make it official. Established Titles is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. Off. Go to establishedtitles.com/rockstars to get your gifts now. Take it away, Jessica. We're introduced to Mallory Book officially, played by Renee Ellis Goldsberry. If you remember, this is the woman from Hamilton, who's an amazing singer, but also a phenomenal actress. Just a reminder, in the comics, she was an amazing lawyer, but just a rival to Jen and super mean. I didn't really like her. It's revealed Dennis was dating a shapeshifter who made himself look like Megan the Stallion, and Jen does my job breaking it down who she is so I don't have to.
Sorry, you thought you were dating Megan the Stallion? A multiple Grammy Award winner, megastar Megan Thee Stallion.
What part of Shapeshifter did you not get?
You thought she drove a Passat?
More specifically, a shape-shifting light elf named Runa from New Asgard, who we later found out is the daughter of an elven diplomat of Asgard and now New Asgard. The light elves have been pretty good to most knowledge. They're native to Alfheim, one of the 9 realms conquered by Odin. Wong appears! Behind him, it looks like a living room. There's a couch, coffee table, some chairs, and nice lights. It's a mood-setting room. It's probably a Kamar-Taj. Cat's out the bag. Wong forced Abomination out of prison because he needed a worthy opponent to train to be the Sorcerer Supreme. Wong mentioned that he's aware of the spell that wiped everyone's memory of knowing Peter Parker because Doctor Strange basically had to ask him permission to do it. If you remember, after acknowledging, Wong left saying, just leave me out of this. He also adds, it's very messy, which could refer to all those unanswered questions people have about it. Wong goes on to share some advice saying, we'll send him to the mirror dimension, the parallel dimension that allowed people to practice magic and fight. You remember in Doctor Strange. Then offering the shadow dimension, which I don't think is the shadow realm necessarily, but he meant the dark dimension where we last saw Clea and Doctor Strange headed to in Multiverse of Madness. We get a shot of Pug's laptop. He has U-Screen, aka YouTube up. We're watching the Megan Thee Stallion imposter fight at Celebrate with a QR code. On the right, videos like Pony Imposter thinks it's a stallion, Iron Man 3's honest reviews. I really want to click on it. Malgrado Te, a short film written and directed by Kevin Rodengen, who does VFX for She-Hulk series. Kevin, I'm sorry for butchering your name, but I'm still gonna respect you. Here's his photo. And my favorite bear fight. Once Pug recognizes it's Runa and not Dennis, we get the Jaws-like zoom in. It's so funny to me, maybe because while he's quiet, Dennis thinks it's because he has a Tesla Cybertruck. You know, those like super ugly cars that Tesla made. We're back to the DODC prison. The same red lasers that Jen has to walk through to see Emil are outside. We're with KNBS News. The anchor is played by real-life journalist Sharon Reed. The man with KAJE3 asked Jen if it's true she's been rejected by the Avengers. And in the show, we know that's a blatant lie. Even in the comics, she's left and returned a ton of times, but has never been rejected by them. She's been fired, yes, but that's a different kind of rejection, if you know what I mean. We meet the soulmates, and boy, was I right. Blair, Ruth, Marta, Sheila, Alejandra, Yvonne, and Nicolette, his better eighths. Blonsky plans on making a meditation retreat on his plot of land, which, possible spoilers, I'm so sorry, I think we saw in the trailers already at what I assumed was the group therapy. Blonsky's first preliminary witness is the literacy program guy, Sean Holt, played by Burke Brown, the prison counselor, Amy Chance, played by Jennifer Van Horn, and the crying guard, Carl Cowart, played by Robert Stevens Wayne. Now, according to Jen's documents, they don't match what was assigned in the credits. This could just be a little mistake in post, or Jen genuinely confused with their job. I think it's the first one, which is no biggie. I just have to acknowledge it. And if at this part you were like, I don't know what a shiv is, it's a shank, which I keep in my sock at all times. It's a breakdown. If someone doesn't know what a shiv is, I have to explain it. Wong says this.
I didn't know.
Heard of a kumite.
Insinuating it might be a little longer until Emil truly gets his verdict. But also, the kumite covers a lot of things. It's one of the 3 main sections of karate training. It's not just in Bloodsport or that one episode of the Boondocks. When we switch to our B story, we get a better look at Judge Price, played by George Bryant, and Runa's lawyer, Lauren Jesper, played by Ruth Kaufman. When this is said by Judge Price,
she may have diplomatic immunity in New Asgard, but we are not in New Asgard.
It's a tricky answer, mainly because I'm not a lawyer, but according to the United Nations Treaty Collection, modern diplomat immunity was codified as international law in the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, which has been ratified by the US and Norway, which is home to New Asgard. So basically, we agreed in Article 9 that we, the US, can consider someone as unwelcome, but we still have to let their home state know. If we don't hear back in a certain period of time or they refuse, we can ask them to leave the US, or we can cancel the diplomat's visa and bar them and their families from returning to the United States ever again. So when Judge Price said that, he could be referring to the fact that New Asgard is its own country within Norway and has different diplomatic immunity. Or maybe because Runa has it in New Asgard doesn't mean the US gave it to her. To be fair, New Asgard isn't that old, and I don't know how the UN handles previously signed treaties with new cities within old countries, but I'd assume they'd fall under Norway's jurisdiction. If you're a lawyer, just hit me up, or if you have better knowledge of international law, just stand up, please, in the chat.
I don't know how
countries
imaginary
which I think we all remember from Thor Ragnarok, and it's perfect timing.
Excuse me, Your Honor, but Asgard is not a place. It is a people. Therefore,
Thor's inspirational speeches are not admissible in court.
Asgard is not a place. It's a people.
Emil turns into Abomination, and he is just so gentle picking up his shoes. As we know, this Abomination favors more to the comics, hence his little gilly gills. What I really hate, though, in this scene is how much his partner swoon over him changing into Abomination. It just makes me want to throw myself out of a moving car, you know? It's just like, why? And then he's waving at them in the reflection. It's so, I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, but it's weird. So currently, Wong is a wanted man, a criminal for helping facilitate a prisoner escape. Let's keep that noted because Wong is now a wanted man. The KNBS News 6 reporter mentions this.
Is there any truth to the rumors you got your powers from a mafia hit gone wrong?
Which happened in the original comics. Crime boss Nicholas Trask Crew shot and seriously injured Jen, warranting a blood transfusion from Bruce, giving her abilities. In the back, we see KCAV 35, which we haven't seen in the MCU, but is the news station for Breaking Bad. I'm rewatching Breaking Bad right now. The app on Nikki's phone is Snafu, which is a satirical comic book from the 1950s. Marvel Comics made it to mimic Mad Magazine, written by Stan Lee. Catch here when Jem breaks the fourth wall. These duo don't notice, but Hulk noticed in the first episode, so maybe it's like the family shared DNA can recognize it. Another anecdote we can see more of as the series goes on, but worth noting as the idea that only certain folks can see it. Seeing as you can get up to 3 years in jail or in prison for false impersonation in California, 60 days is a great punishment. But again, not a lawyer. Please don't use me as a cause to any of your crimes, people. I will freak out. I screamed so loud when Megan Thee Stallion presented herself in that full church pink getup and fandom match.
Oh, yeah.
That person next to her is just as shook as I am. Signature included. So when Dennis mentioned making sure Runa could never trick anyone again with her powers, it was right on the nose that Jen would think about using the inhibitor. Remember, Bruce had it in the first episode. Now, this tricky instrument could open the door to the Mutant Registration Act we saw in X-Men. Seeing as we're already acknowledging mutants exist in the MCU, basically the Mutant Registration Act identified and tracked all mutants, but could set up any vigilante to target registered mutants. Regardless, capturing people and using an inhibitor immediately sounds like a fine idea until someone is falsely prosecuted, wrongfully imprisoned, or killed while in holding. It's not as easy as Jen thinks, and this could set up shop for a very dangerous game. On Citizen News tonight, the news anchor is played by Bob DeCastro, who is also on Fox 11 LA. She finally interviews, and it's a giant step for She-Hulk, and I'm so proud. No pun intended. I just love her, and I'm glad at how she's doing in the show. When Jen gets home, she gets jumped by this man in a yellow helmet, and this guy who has purple emitting glow from his gloves, and this guy with a blue emitting crowbar, and this man at the end has a pinkish ball and chain. We later find out that one of the men is named Thunderball, and oh baby, wait till you get a gander at this crew. Now, you might have seen them in Avengers, the Earth's Mightiest Heroes fighting Thor, or in Ultimate Spider-Man, but they are the supervillain team known as the Wrecking Crew. See the W's on their shirts? Why do they have shirts for their crimes? Their story is pretty wild and chaotic. Dirk Garthwaite, aka the Wrecker, broke into Loki's home with a crowbar, and right as Loki was getting powers from Carnella, Dirk got in the way and got it. He later fought Thor, and his powers transferred from him to his crowbar, but in prison he met ex-physicist Elliot Franklin, aka Thunderball, Brian Koleski, aka Piledriver, and ex-Army Sergeant Henry Camp, aka Bulldozer. When they broke free, they retrieved the magical crowbar. They really stood in the lightning storm, pulled a Shazam, and each got a piece of its power. They each have distinct weapons they use. So Bulldozer has his armored helmet, neck, shoulder covers. Wrecker has his crowbar. Thunderball has a ball and chain, and Piledriver has huge hands that are super strong. They fought in secret wars. They've even assisted in Hood's criminal syndicate during the Skrull invasion. So ultimately, we could see more of them since we're headed in that direction already, but they did steal these weapons from an Asgardian construction worker. So maybe the origins may change a little. Their backstory in She-Hulk could also be different from the comics, but these characters in the comics are around all the time, fighting everyone and usually losing. Now, for the real question, who's their boss? And here's my theory.
Exactly.
In the comics, they worked under the Hood, who we know is coming into Ironheart, and they worked under Baron Zemo, who led the Masters of Evil and fought the Thunderbolts. So those two characters are two big deals because they're getting them in another series and movie anyways.
Related
the leader from Incredible Hulk,
also,
he was super excited to work with Banner, and with his blood, he could do a lot. Maybe getting She-Hulks would be even easier. Or lastly, they could be working for Leapfrog, which, hey, is a stretch, but it would be fun to see a more rich version of Leapfrog trying to make up for what his dad couldn't, and he has his own team of goons. The episode closes with Yanaka sees the power. I love this song. This is the first piece of new material since 2019, and they even said in an interview, we want you to get lost in a feeling of strength and empowerment when listening to this song, and I want that to be completely true. Though Jen looks defeated in this last scene looking at her reflection, it feels like the ending of every Euphoria episode. I just want this to be the look of a woman who just recognized, yeah, maybe her old life is over, but she's a superhero now, versus thinking, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, I want her confident, I just want her courageous. We get a new courtroom illustration of Blonsky on his release shuttle with his 7 partners happily crying and waving him off goodbye. We get Nikki's thirst trap with the books in a library to catch Wong's attention. Dennis taking Megan Thee Stallion out on a very luxurious date, assuming that's not actually Megan, but maybe Runa. Megan Thee Stallion is Jen's latest client, and let me tell you, I've never been happier. This is like watching your two very best different friends meet and become best friends. This is like the first time you put peanut butter and chocolate together. This is my two favorite things coming together. If they somehow put anime in this, I just explode. And to top it all off, they're twerking. They close the episode to Body by Megan Thee Stallion. And if you told me 5 years ago Kevin Feige would approve of the hot Ebony, aka Tina Snow, aka Megan Thee Stallion, would be canon in the MCU, I'd say, are you lying? Oh, that's everything I spotted in the 3rd episode of She-Hulk. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @Clemens. Follow New Rockstars. Subscribe to New Rockstars for more breakdowns of everything you love. Thanks for watching.
Peace out.
That was great.
What was your favorite bit of lore that you learned there?
She went by so fast. It's just like it went through my head.
I'll go first. I am not a comic guy, I never have been, but I love seeing all the little breakdowns of
the comics,
the origins and the comic panels, because it kind of ties the shows back to their roots, right? Because really these things come from the comic panels,
right?
And they wouldn't exist if it weren't for all of the hard work and all of that Stan Lee and all those guys. When they were originally writing these, there wasn't a giant business. It was rough for them, and I love seeing all the little details of how these storylines began and then how they get kind of twisted around and shifted and stuff. And it makes me so happy to see the how they've made something so cool from those things.
Yeah, I agree with you. Me, it's like she just like a lot of information it's just like my brain is going.
And she talks
so fast.
They got so much to cover. It's so many details, so they just gotta get them out. Yeah. So I like the comic panel. Definitely, of course, I love when they talk about the fourth wall break, because that is such a fun thing that she does. I didn't notice the little sound when she did the fourth wall break in the car. There was that little transition sound that they pointed out. We'll have to be listening for that in the future.
Also the A113. I saw that. I didn't know what's the significance about that. Now that she pointed out.
Those types of things are usually just little like nods.
Right.
It doesn't actually mean something in the show, but it's just a little nod.
Yeah, but I mean, something we missed that, like, I guess you just have to be like a true
you have to know what all those things mean to be able to catch them. And
exactly.
I didn't necessarily know that.
I mean, that's why they call it, the egg Easter
eggs and breakdowns and details. Yeah, exactly. And it's fun to get that knowledge even though we don't have it ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're glad to share this with you guys.
Thank you again for tuning into our channel. If you'd like to watch She-Hulk, she's on Disney Plus.
Yep.
And I can't give you the link because there's no link to it. So
but the new Rockstars are on YouTube, and you should definitely go check them out for their breakdowns of the shows we watch and many, many more.
Exactly. So the Rockstars, the link will be in our description below. Thank you for your love and support to our channel. We really appreciate you. If you have any suggestions and recommendations, please keep them coming. We love reading them. Thank you again, and see you in the next video. Oh, my eyes are watery.